No, I know. I'm gonna be like, that's definitely I should have said. It's great.
Hello. Juliana and Ben.
Hi. Ryan Cable. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I love your jumpsuit.
Oh, thank you.
What a perfect color.
Thank you very much.
I like your lanyard thing.
Totoro.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really good.
Thank you.
Rock and roll. Do we do our names?
You can if you want, but I was gonna also ask first question.
No, let's go. Questions
Yeah,
up.
let's do it.
All right, how much fun did you have filming this season?
None.
Zero fun.
Oh, terrible group. No, you go first.
It was, yeah, we were saying at another table, it was a very unique experience. Like, I think without the circumstances under which we filmed, we still would have become an extraordinarily close cast. But shooting under these circumstances, like I've never had a more familial experience with a team. Like it's just been really exceptional, and it's just such an amazing group of people, and so it's been like the most rewarding experience of working on something that I've had, thankfully.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And I'll just add that, we were supposed to start. This has been a long road with the show, and
especially for you, yeah.
And especially for the material itself. It's been like years and years of trying to get it made. And we were supposed to start on, I think, April 13th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, I was sort of like, well, I don't know when we're ever going to get to make this show at all, or if I'm ever going to get to be on set again in my whole life. Like, is this whole part of my life just over? And luckily it wasn't. And so I'll just also say that I think all of us were just so happy to be working and to be on set and to be able to make something after all of this time sitting wondering if we ever would. And it was a perfect group with whom to do that. It was just a dream.
Was there appreciation for the uniqueness of your character, where like he's not playing the typical like loser type guy and stuff, but he's actually very inventive and just thinking outside the box?
That's a nice question, because sometimes I feel like people are like, "What was it like playing a guy who's kind of a loser?"
No, I mean it's a trend.
But I mean it's. I wanted there to be like a lot of different sides to the guy, and I think in the writing as you read episode after episode, it was, just when you think you've seen it all, there's like, you see a new flash of something, you see a new layer in something, and I wanted to give him runway. I didn't want York to be this like obvious hero. I wanted to give him room to grow, and I wanted to give him room to discover to discover himself and discover his role in the world, and to embrace the role that he plays in the story. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you play a very different bed than the comics. Did you go to the source material, or did you just dive into the scripts right away and just kind of ignore that and start afresh?
Well, I had never heard of the comics before I got the part, so I went into the audition process extremely context-free. And then when I got the part, I was like, oh, who is this character? And I looked her up, and I was like, interesting. I think they're going for something a little different. Then I did some research about Australia. The way that the story begins for Beth in York is different in the show. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the scripts, and when we're finished, or when we get to some point away from the making of it, then I'll go and read them as like a fan, or as out of just pure interest rather than research.
Same for Yorick, a very different character from, he is very one note in the comics.
Yeah.
And you have a chance to give him some humanity and some depth. Did you look at the source material at all?
Yeah, that's cool of you to say. I did. I hadn't read the comics before doing the job. Before getting the part. Then once I got the part, I dove right in and read the graphic novel. And again, I think when you're doing an adaptation, it's such a gift to have such rich source material as a resource. But as an actor, it begins and ends with the script that our writers write. And so the graphic novel is as useful as informative. It's only as useful and informative as like as it can serve the story that you're telling. And yeah, the writers did such a great job of bringing to life and bringing into 3 dimensions these characters, and the world that the directors, the producers, the writers, the showrunner, our production designer created. It demands that these characters live and breathe and bleed, and so it was a real gift to be able to explore more facets of this guy. Yeah.
How did sorry. It seems like such like an intimate, personal experience, like working on the show. What's it been like now? It's coming out every week, like releasing to the world. Seeing people's reaction to something that was so personal to both of you when you were working on it.
Well, seeing people's reactions, it's certainly easier that I feel like there's a lot of positive responses, and I felt nervous because it's a property with such a dedicated fan base. I certainly felt worried that we would disappoint them in some way, but for the most part, I've seen a lot of thumbs up from fans of the graphic novel, which feels like a real relief, and I'm so glad that we've done something that feels appropriate and hopefully also up new and fresh and of this moment. That's
really
been nice.
Echo what Juliana said, and it's a very interesting question because we wrapped the turnaround between wrap and between the first few episodes premiering was really short.
Yeah,
for us.
very.
Like usually you wrap something and it's like a year later you're doing something like this and it's like, what the fuck is the movie about again?
I don't know. What's it called?
But with exactly. But with this, it's like we wrapped. What did we wrap in July?
July 30th.
End of July, and then August happened, and then it basically wrapped, and then 6 weeks later it was premiering.
Yeah.
And so it's usually you have a bit more time to metabolize the experience, kind of let it go, get some distance. But yeah, I echo what Juliana said. Yeah.
How did the both of you react to seeing your costumes on the first day of the set?
Oh, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a cute little smart girl outfit. Yeah, I mean, it's your costume. You do your costume. It's a little bit.
It's interesting because we had we had our fittings. And you get all right, cool. What are the jeans I'm gonna wear, and what are my sneaks, and what are, because it's in the first episode, it's not so you don't see Yorick in his kind of his equivalent of the cape and cowl. You only see it at a few moments. But I remember Olga Mill, our costume designer, who did an amazing job. The first time in our fitting, when I put on the gas mask and the poncho, and they gave me the crate, it was just, I think, especially because, Juliana said, it was such a long road to get there. And there was, we got these jobs and we were, had flights, booked everything to fly to start filming in the beginning of 2020.
So crazy.
And then just it getting put off. I remember the first call we got where they're they're going to delay it for 2 weeks. And then cut to 7 months later. And then finally, putting it on for the first time, it was just so surreal. And so you're in a costume fitting at work and you're I haven't spoken to anyone in 6 months, and this is so exhausting. Yeah. But it was just really powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
Thank you.